The morning of the 8th starts with an artillery and naval gunfire bombardment at about 4:20 in the morning. That's followed up by some attacks by medium bombers on strong points, and then the assault itself. And this starts at 0730 with 3 divisions making just a full-on frontal assault following up that bombardment, exactly as outlined by these arrows. Now, they did run into heavy opposition in all of these little outlying villages as they went. This was very heavy fighting, extremely heavy losses on both sides. This battle has been compared to a World War I style battle, and that's not a very flattering thing to say. When it became apparent things were going slower than anticipated, armor was sent up here to secure Hill 64, overlooking Caen itself. This also met very heavy opposition, but the armor was able to win through. The 3rd Canadian Division manages to take some ground and start to form a pincer around these German defenses. And in the Canadian area, that really takes us up to about 8 o'clock that evening, with further attacks on these outlying villages coming the next morning. Now in the center, the 59th Division manages to get to Saint-Contest, and then the 3rd British Division manages to, like I said earlier, take Hill 64. Patrols then reach the outskirts of Caen, but nobody can really get any further this day. So let's get into a description of activities on the 8th. As you can see, there was a lot of interesting stuff that happened here on the map to look at today. So 441 describes the day as quite early in the morning. 10 of our aircraft took off on a reconnaissance of the Caen, Harcourt, Falaise area. 3 were forced to return early because of engine and RT failure. Scattered MET was seen and 1 was attacked, which became a smoker. And it continues on the next page with a description of that same armed reconnaissance. It describes groups of 2 to 4 MET seen going north in St. Lo, Vere area. Attacks on them resulted in 4 flamers and 1 smoker. Pilot Officer Bergman and Flying Officer Dewar reported from 83 GSU for flying duties, and Flying Officer Gamey, who had been at 52 MFH suffering from sinus trouble, was posted to RCAF R Depot, Warrington, and the MFH it describes there as a field hospital. And 442 gives us dawn readiness, off on patrols of 4 starting at 0450 hours. The section leaving at 0750, led by Flight Lieutenant Dover with Pilot Officer Young, Pilot Officer Costell, and Flying Officer McDuff, saw 5 submarines near the Orne River and opened fire, each sinking a midget submarine. On the 0840 patrol, Flight Lieutenant Wright, Pilot Officer Weeks, Burns, and O'Sullivan destroyed and damaged 1 and took pictures of them. Patrols of 4 of slightly over an hour duration continued all day, the last one taking off at 2150. Flying Officer Robillard moved to 443 Squadron to act as flight commander, and Flying Officer Caldwell, taxiing on the runway, did some damage to the wing of Flying Officer McClarty's Spit. At 1400 hours, Wing Commander Russell commended the squadron and echelon for their fine work and expressed his regrets in leaving. He said he was leaving the squadron in good hands and was sure they would be up with the leaders under the guidance of Squadron Leader Dowding. Pilot Officer Burns flew back to England to bring back another Spitfire, and an extremely busy day, 90 plus hours in the air. And then 443, weather cloudy and at times hazy, scattered light showers, visibility poor. Squadron's effective strength up to 25 with only 1 pilot remaining in station sick quarters. All action finally completed on the disposal of kit of the 5 missing pilots up to the present, and Form 1644 have been forwarded to Standing Committee of Adjustment today. And the Form 1644 I mentioned there was filled out for missing and deceased personnel and served as almost like a checklist for disposition of belongings and collection, packaging, and then forwarding of the service and flying records for the personnel up to, as it says there, the Standing Committee of Adjustment, and then on to the National Archives where you can go to view a lot of these. The squadron took part in 2 armed recces during the day, but very little opportunity afforded for destruction, as German traffic on the roads during daylight is almost nil, nor have there been any aircraft in the sky recently, in about 34 hours for this squadron. So that's very interesting about the midget subs that were seen and destroyed, and those come from 442 Squadron as part of these 4-ship patrols that were carried out throughout the day, starting at 0450 and then last down at 2255. These are uneventful with good visibility up until we get to 0750. On this one, we have sighted and attacked 5 midget submarines seen between Cabourg and the Havre. First 1/2 mile off Cabourg, second and third and fourth 3 miles offshore, heading for Bennerville. 5th, 6th miles west of Le Havre, all heading for shore. all sank after attack. Nil enemy aircraft opposition, nil flak, clear and visibility good. I'll throw some photos up of what these are believed to have been as we go, and I'll move on to the 845 patrol. So the next group up sighted 2 midget submarines between Caborg and Le Havre. First, 1 mile northeast of Caborg damaged. Second, 5 miles off of Trouville damaged, heading for shore southeast. Then the next group up, 0950, uneventful, Navy vessels, corvettes, patrolling off Caborg. Clear to 9,000 feet, visibility good. I'm not sure if these refer to Allied or German corvettes, to be honest. I could probably easily find out, but I think I'll leave that for some other time. 10:55 to noon, spotted submarine 5 miles west of Le Havre going southeast, orbited and dummy attacks made, but did not submerge. 2 aircraft then attacked twice, strikes on tower and along its length, sub sank. Nil enemy aircraft opposition, flak, moderate heavy from Le Havre, and weather, same as before. Then uneventful all the way down to 1550, and there are other missions going on right now. I'm just going to finish out this series of patrols. And this is 5 paravanes seen floating loose in the area 5 miles north of Hulate, otherwise uneventful. Weather appears to be worsening as we go. 1655 spotted submarine near Le Havre, shot up but did not sink. 1745 saw another midget submarine, attacked but made no claim, so this one apparently escaped. 1810, another midget submarine attacked. 1910, another object appeared to be a submarine attacked, and oil slick appeared on the surface afterwards, but the target did not sink. 1910 and 1950, same, attacking submarines. 2050, vectored by control, but no enemy aircraft seen. And at this point, weather 10/10ths, visibility poor, and rain squalls. And the last one of the day is 2150 to 2255, uneventful, heavy fighting south of Caen, and weather as above. But getting back into the missions here, from 0730 to 0815, 441 goes up on an armed recce, and this is an armed reconnaissance, scattered MET attacked, 1 smoker being claimed. Then 1240 to 1410 armed recce by 443, 12 aircraft dispatched on armed recce to Caen, Flare Argenton, 1 forced to return due to minor unserviceability. Reported 30-plus goods cars at Victor 1918, evacuees seen at Tango 9345, shot up 1 staff car, reported a smoker, otherwise no activity, 1010's cloud at 5,000, thinning down to 3,000. Now I'll revisit these goods cards here in just a second. I actually have a photo to look at there. And 2 more missions, very uneventful, 1910 to 2020, an armed reconnaissance by 441, and this is scattered MET attacked, resulting in 4 flamers and 1 smoker. And then last mission of the day, other than those patrols that we've already looked at, 443, 1945 to 2110, armed recce, 12 aircraft dispatched to Caen, Lisseau, Falaise, Caen, scattered MET seen, 1 flamer claimed and 6 damaged, no enemy aircraft encountered, accurate moderate flak east of Caen, and the city itself is still smoldering and appears to be well battered by Lancasters. So that wraps it up for the day, and supporting the attack as usual by interdicting reinforcements before they can reach the area. Now I mentioned that I had a photo to look at down here, and I'll go to the location of these goods cars. And this one was kind of tricky to align. I don't think I ever got this one nailed down exactly perfectly. To get these to work like this, you have to get the exact altitude the photo was taken from, the exact direction it was looking, the exact roll angle, and then, probably most importantly, you have to get the right field of view to account for the lens. It's actually kind of fun if you're into puzzles to do these, but we can see the location where these goods cars were reported right here on this rail line. And in this photo itself, and I have no idea what the date was on this photo, we can see those same types of goods cars on the line. And I don't guess I've looked that closely at the cars themselves. We have, looks like carrying possibly coal. Whatever it was, it took a bomb hit solidly right there in the middle, and a lot of very, very large craters around it. And then the town itself, we can see a lot of detail up here with the road coming up. We can see the French civilians right here at this intersection, and a lot of devastation down here around the rail line, but relatively untouched once you get further and further in. And as I was putting this down, one thing I did was back out and then have a look at how this looks present day, and I'll put us down right here, right where those civilians were walking around. And if we pan over just to the left, we have this 6th of June Memorial Square, and we can see the old buildings down the lane there, probably, or in fact, I'm sure this one to the left there is one of the buildings that was in the original photo. More old style buildings over here to the left. And then, of course, once we go back down in this direction towards the railroad, much of it remains open. It really wasn't rebuilt. And I'll have one more look at the photo. This is the spot we were just looking at, and if I come in here one more time, it looks like there was at one time a building right there, and I think the other building that we were looking at just down the road is this one right here. I actually haven't looked at this in any detail to see exactly what is still there and what isn't, but this is exactly where the Memorial Square was that we were just looking at, and what a difference. So I'm going to wrap things up here and move on to the 9th. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.